Hello, friends. Today we are going to be talking about a clay artist, and we're going to talk about a sculptor who does environmental art. And so let's get started. Our first friend is Robert Arnson. He is a California artist and teacher. Unfortunately, he has passed, but he created a lot of artwork that has humor to it. And our they just make me kind of giggle, and I find them very entertaining. And Robert created artwork that had humor, and humor is hard to do in art. And at times we get so caught up in brooding and kind of depressing and sad art, we forget about looking at artists and artwork that have joy or humor. And so that's why I wanted to introduce Robert Arnson to you. This one particularly, where he put himself on the head of a dog, just makes me kind of giggle. All right, we're going to continue on to Andy Goldsworthy. Andy Goldsworthy creates artwork that is in natural environments. And as time passes, of course, they dissipate, they fall apart. But what I love about his artwork is that we find repetition and we find pattern and emphasis. All of the elements and principles of design are in his artwork. And I think it would be absolutely magical to stumble across one of his pieces in nature. It would almost be like a Harry Potter moment or a Lord of the Rings moment. So we're going to continue on, and we're going to talk about an art movement called biomorphism. It is an art movement that began in the 20th century. It modeled artistic design elements on naturally occurring patterns or shapes reminiscent of natural and living organism. Taken to its extreme, it attempts to force naturally occurring shapes into functional devices. In ceramics, we see a great deal of this both in sculpture and functional forms. So today we're going to create artwork that expresses an idea and demonstrates learning. We're going to create a collection of artwork. We're going to participate in art studio. We're going to revise our artwork based on feedback, and we're going to analyze our artwork. So this is the assignment: abstraction of a natural object. So first we have a natural object, and this is mine that I did. I have a piece of bark, and I needed to draw it out. Now, when you're drawing these, I'm not asking you to draw an exact perfect drawing. I just want you to understand the shape. But when you're doing this, I want you to think about drawing it from the top, or the front, the side, and the bottom. I want you to take that three-dimensional object and give it a map-like view. We want to know all sides of this because we are going to take this object and slowly abstract it or metamorphosize it. It is your choice how you want to approach this project. So here we can see this student has started to take her piece, and she's starting to have it evolve. So she has her first drawing, which shows how it is, and now she's going to think about abstracting it or making it evolve. And she actually has hers evolve into a stingray. And then she also thought about what her base is going to look like. So we're going to continue on. And you see here is her final project. And she has a kind of weaving through a sand textured base into an ocean. And here is our initial piece, and making it slowly abstract into the stingray. And here is another view of it as well. So, step one, find your object. You want to find a natural object, and it could be a pine cone, it can be a seashell, it can be a piece of driftwood, but it has to be a natural, organic object. Draw your object in three-dimensional terms by sketching multiple views. And you saw that in that first drawing that my student did right there. So then, step two is you're going to start abstracting your object or metamorphosizing it. You will need to come up with 8 ideas of how to slowly abstract your object. These ideas need to be done in drawing. So, first drawing is how the image looks, multiple views. Then drawings 2 through 7 are your final abstraction, or slowly abstract, and drawing 8 is your final abstraction. You'll need to get somebody to give you feedback, and then you'll need to revise. And I do request a signature, but since we're in COVID, you don't need to have a signature. Just make sure you talk to somebody and get some feedback so you revise your artwork or make any changes if necessary. Step 3, you're going to show your drawing to me. So you're going to be turning in your drawings for a grade. You're going to be photographing them and emailing them to me. So as you're working on your drawings, you'll need to have I always like to have questions in my head while I'm working. So these are some questions that I came up with for this project. And of course, you may have your own questions. And these would be questions that you should always kind of think about and inquire about whatever you're creating. So, what characteristics of the natural form are still present in your sculpture? If you didn't know what the natural object was that inspired your sculpture, would you be able to tell? What would you name your sculpture? And any changes from your original drawing. And it's good to start having and questioning and thinking about your artwork as you are working through the process. So here's another sample of a student's work. We can see that he had a seashell, or did he have a bird skull? And you don't know the evolution here, which I think is rather interesting. Here's another student's work, and there was more to it, but unfortunately it perished in the kiln. But I love this idea of the banana evolving into it, and it was an octopus. Kind of a cool idea. And then last, here is one that a student really thought about the base. And this is what I really want you to think about as you're working on this piece. She had her shell, and that it evolved into a piece of candy. And she actually sculpted the piece of candy, and she used saran wrap. Then she went even a step further in creating when you go to a restaurant and you get the bill, and she kind of made all of this evolve into a case that you would get into a restaurant. There's the guest check, there's the credit card, and she actually did this in colored pencil. She did cut this out and did it on a computer, but her name is right there, so that's how she signed the piece. Pretty clever. So let's talk about the rubric and how you're going to be graded on this project. And with all of our projects, we are going to be writing an artist statement about the piece. And we'll get into that a little bit more later on at the end, but just so you're aware of that. So you're going to have to think about your idea, your concept, and is it clear, and is it imaginative, and it works its way down. Your planning, and this is pretty much your sketching and your research that you did. And the analysis will be your artist statement, your overall composition, and that's how it was organized in space, and then your craftsmanship. Did you take your time? Did you clean up your edges? All of that stuff. And we'll go into a clay making video later on, but right now we're worried about our ideas, and that's what's important. Well, that's all I have for you today. And good luck with coming up with your natural object and your ideas. Have a star quality day. Bye now.